Welcome back. We're live in Tucson, Arizona, following the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. We're going to continue to monitor the search and bring you updates. But let's turn to our law and justice lead, Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted child sex trafficker and associate of dead pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, refused to say a word today during an ongoing deposition with the House Oversight Committee. Her lawyer told the committee that Maxwell will not answer questions unless she is granted clemency by President Trump. Let's bring in CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Honig and CNN special correspondent Jamie Gangel. Ellie, what do you make of this ultimatum delivered by Maxwell and her attorney? Congressman Moskowitz said it's an obvious quid pro quo.
It's right there on the face of it, Jake. It doesn't get any clearer than that. The proposal is written out this for that. I want a pardon, and in exchange, I will give you exonerating testimony. But the fundamental problem with this offer, Jake, is even if Ghislaine Maxwell and Donald Trump reach this agreement, who on this earth would actually believe Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony? We're talking about a convicted child sex trafficker. We're talking about somebody who is openly begging for a pardon. We're talking about a person in Ghislaine Maxwell who spent 9 hours face-to-face with the Deputy Attorney General of the United States and gave an utterly preposterous, unbelievable account where she said she had done nothing wrong, nobody else had done anything wrong. Maybe Jeffrey Epstein committed a crime, she said, but she's not sure. If you believe that, I don't know what to tell you. So even if this deal were somehow to come to fruition, I don't think it would convince a soul.
Jamie, the president has not ruled out clemency for Maxwell. In fact, if memory serves, he wished her well. If he granted her clemency, if he freed her from prison, this could complicate things further. I imagine that there might be some sort of political fallout for the president, possibly.
Sure, absolutely. Look, to Ellie's point, where is the credibility in all of this? Survivors want accountability. So let's look at what happens if he gives her clemency. This is the one issue where Republican members of the House, overwhelmingly, only one didn't, vote to release the Epstein files. That's because these members of Congress know that this is an issue their constituents care about. So if he pardons her right now, gives her clemency, those Republicans believe it's going to hurt them in the midterms. If they lose the House, then Donald Trump is going to have a lot of political fallout for the next 2 years, Jake.
Ellie, does Ghislaine Maxwell have grounds to invoke the Fifth Amendment and refuse to answer questions in an ongoing deposition with the House Oversight Committee? Is there anything Congress can do to overcome that, or does she only need to speak, or does she never need to speak? I mean, is that just how the system works?
There's actually a couple things that Congress can do. So first of all, at the threshold level, yes, she does have a Fifth Amendment right because she has an ongoing, what we call a collateral appeal. She's trying to attack her conviction, get herself a new trial. But first of all, Congress can point out, and I've heard various representatives say this throughout the day, you know, she spoke openly with Todd Blanche, so legally she might have given away the Fifth Amendment privilege. The problem is they're talking about it, but the only way you can challenge that, if you're a member of the committee, is to take it to court. I've not seen anyone do that. The other option Congress has, they can immunize her. They can say, go ahead, you testify, but now you won't be prosecuted for that. Now, that may be a terrible idea. I don't think I would be on board for that. But that's also a question that I think members of Congress need to be asked. Are you willing to go that far? You issued the subpoena. Do you want to take those next steps to actually get the testimony, or was it just for show?
Jamie, knowing what you know about President Trump, do you see any world where President Trump post midterms, or maybe on his way out the door of the White House, issues Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon or commutation?
I think that's possible, Jake. What do we know? Donald Trump loves the pardon power, and he is very sensitive about the Epstein files. So if he thinks it serves his interest, no one should be surprised if that happens after the midterms.
And Ellie, asking for clemency, of course, that's what Maxwell's attorney asked for. That's different from asking for a pardon, which wipes your criminal record clean. What could clemency mean for Ghislaine Maxwell?
So there's two variations of clemency. One, as you said, Jake, would be a pardon, which absolutely just wipes the conviction off the books and would let Ghislaine Maxwell out of prison the moment it was issued. Separately, there's a lesser option called the commutation, and that could be a sentencing reduction. It could be a reduction of a couple years, a couple weeks. It could be a reduction down to any level the president wants. So, and by the way, just for the record, Ghislaine Maxwell is 64 years old. If you do the math on her time left, she has about 11 years left on her 20-year sentence when you deduct time off for good behavior. So she's got a ways to go. So there is a way Donald Trump could not quite pardon her, but reduce the sentence through a commutation.
Ellie Honig, Jamie Gangel, thanks to both of you. The fallout from the Epstein file saga extends to our world lead with stunning developments today in the UK. Calls for Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer to step down over his appointment of Peter Mendelsohn to be the ambassador to the US, due to Mendelssohn's long-standing relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, as exposed in the release of the files. The scandal has already cost Starmer's chief of staff his job, and now late today, Buckingham Palace saying it would support a criminal probe of the former Prince Andrew over new revelations that he shared secret trade documents with Epstein. CNN's Max Foster reports for us from London.
Tonight, King Charles signalling his readiness to cooperate with UK police in any investigation into his brother Andrew. The Epstein crisis now engulfing the palace and the UK Parliament. UK police are, quote, assessing reports that former Prince Andrew shared confidential information with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Emails suggest that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, in his previous role as trade envoy, sent Epstein reports in 2010 containing briefings on official government visits to Asia and investment opportunities. Prince William breaking his silence on the Epstein affair. Ahead of a visit to Saudi Arabia, a palace spokesperson saying the Prince and Princess of Wales' thoughts remain focused on the victims. King Charles reiterated the same sentiment in a later statement, saying, if they're approached by Thames Valley Police, we stand ready to support them as you'd expect. As was previously stated, Their Majesty's thoughts and sympathies have been and remain with the victims of any and all forms of abuse. Andrew was stripped of his royal titles in order to leave his royal residence last year due to his ties to the late sex offender Epstein. This photo showed Andrew Mountbatten Windsor with Epstein's former girlfriend and convicted child sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell, an Epstein survivor, Virginia Giuffre, who accused Andrew of sexually assaulting her when she was just 17. He settled a civil lawsuit by Giuffre out of court in 2022. Giuffre died by suicide last April. On January 30th, the latest tranche of Epstein documents had 3 undated photos showing Andrew kneeling over what appears to be a woman or girl whose face has been redacted, lying fully clothed and supine on the floor. Andrew's previously denied any wrongdoing.
He lied about that.
UK Premier Keir Starmer facing his own storm over his decision to appoint Peter Mandelson as ambassador to the US in 2024, despite knowing about his ties to the late child sex trafficker. Documents reveal that Mandelson too shared confidential information with Epstein.
To learn that there was a cabinet minister leaking sensitive information at the height of the response to the 2008 crash is beyond infuriating. And I am as angry as the public and any member of this House. Mandelson betrayed our country, our Parliament and my party.
Mandelson resigned from the ruling Labour Party and the House of Lords and is under police investigation. Calls for Starmer to step down have grown following the resignations of his top 2 aides, including his long-serving Chief of Staff who stepped down on Sunday.
That's why the distraction needs to end and the leadership in Downing Street has to change.
The more we see of the Epstein files, the deeper it plunges the British establishment into crisis. Max Foster, CNN London.
Thanks to Max Foster for that report. As Savannah Guthrie releases a new video pleading for help in locating her missing mother, next I'm going to talk to a former kidnap for ransom negotiator about what may be happening behind the scenes in the investigation.